All right, guys. Hey, Camera Jack, or Cayman Jack, I should say. Let's get a sponsorship going here. All right, welcome to the bottom line, everybody. A few technical difficulties on a Friday, but hey, listen, we were in Vegas last weekend, so you got to expect a little bit of this back here. Hope everyone is doing well. We are here with Dr. B and myself. Ben is sick, unfortunately, so he's out today, but he is probably watching and cheering us on. And really, today was an interesting day in the markets, right? We got some trades, three winners in the Apex Live day trading room, and we got the jobs data out. Markets, to be honest, floating higher, right?
Just floating higher, light volume. People are at the beach, they're relaxing, taking a long 4th of July
holiday. You said
holiday.
it perfectly earlier. Like, you know, if you're a big institutional trader, you're still in the Hamptons. You didn't come back to work for a Friday between July 4th and the weekend. Yeah. So on that note, though, I do want to show, we have some really interesting charts to show you guys on a technical basis.
Show them the meta chart.
Yeah, let's get into that. So I have Bitcoin up here, but we're going to show you this meta trade that we took today in the live day trading room. And it was really a beauty because it was involving the ability to do 2 time frames, okay? So what we have here, folks, is you basically were looking at Meta, which had 11 green 10-minute bar candles up in a row. And again, I was saying this before, but you see that about 1% of the time or less. It's so rare. It's kind of like the white whale, if you will. And what we saw here is when you got to this candle, look at how you had small, 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 big. That's an indicator it's a blow-off top. Notice the volume confirms it, and the volume is something we've been following more and more, where you have this massive candle of volume, which again is the highest candle on either side of the chart, right? And that again can alert you to a top. Now that alone is not a reason to take a trade. It's an alert though. It essentially makes you very aware. You then got a topping tail on the next 10-minute candle, and what we see is we went from the 10-minute chart to the 1 minute to isolate down our entry. And on this 1 minute candle right here, it was the biggest candle of the entire day on either side, and it coexisted right with that same point here, and that's the trigger. And you say, okay, this is giving us the volume signals, the topping tail, the reversal signals that you need, and ultimately you can see on the 1 minute chart, beautiful play out there. To the downside, we ended up taking $2 in profits per share of Meta on the short side. So really kind of cool, Dr. B. What do you think, man?
Yeah, so I want to talk about this Bitcoin chart, right? Because we've been focused a lot on volume recently, okay? We've seen it play out on the 1 minute, the 10 minute, right over there, and then on the weekly. So the Bitcoin chart, and I'm actually going to zoom out here. Check this out. Back in 2017, this volume peak marked the highs of Bitcoin, okay? This volume peak here in 2020 marked the lows of Bitcoin, all right? Thank you. So again, I'm just going to show this in case you didn't see. This volume peak right here in 2017 marked the highs of Bitcoin, okay? The volume peak right here marked the lows of 2020. And then if you look back over here, all right, hopefully you can see this volume peak right here at the end of 2022, and again, this was the highest on the Coinbase chart going back 5 years, right, marked the absolute lows. This volume right here, this capitulation, this final volume right there marked the lows of Bitcoin. So we're focused on volume here. So really, really cool. One of the trades that we made today in the live day trading room, I'll just go into that, Gareth, and then you can talk about your next trade, is the GDX, okay? So the GDX, you can see here that on the daily chart, we had this pivot high, all right? You can see this pivot high, and this was back from April of 2023, all right? And what I did is I saw the price coming up into this level, okay? Then I zoomed into the 10-minute chart, all right? And I saw this topping tail right here on the GDX, and we took this trade in the live day trading room. I'm just going to go bring it over here, all right, so you can see it better. Here's a topping tail, right? So here's a topping tail right at that resistance area. Nice pullback. We took profits in here, and it moved higher. So that was an awesome trade. You took the trade in the Meta.
Yeah, it was Meta short, and then we also
what was the third trade?
AMD we had.
AMD, yeah.
AMD was our third winner there. It was a beauty.
Awesome, awesome.
So here, I want to show you guys something, and this is what's one of the things that kind of is irking me about this market. It is what it is, and we always have to respect what the markets are doing. But if we look at the daily charts here of the equal weight and the Russell, right? So today we are seeing the NASDAQ is up like 0.8%. The S&P is up something like 3 or 0.4%. But if you look at the underlying actual real market, and when I say real market, I'm talking about a majority of the stocks, what do we have? Well, take a look. Today we have the Russell is down 0.75%. So the Russell is minus 0.75%. If we look over here at the equal weight S&P 500, it is minus 0.37%. So think about that. The equal weight is down almost 0.4%. The Russell, which is 2,000 stocks with no exposure to the trillion-dollar names, is down 0.75%. So what does that mean? Well, it tells us again that the big gains today are only coming. In fact, it clearly shows that everything else is pretty much down within reason. I mean, there's a few little stocks that are up. But this is amazing to see. Like, historically, you do not see this divergence happen like this very often, like only in rare scenarios. So here we have both of these down, which are basically the real market. And then if we flip over to the S&P 500, the SPX on one side, and we flip over to the NASDAQ 100 on the other side, take a look at these, right? So here's the market with the dominance of the market cap of the trillion-dollar names. We have the NASDAQ 100 is now up 0.94%, so it's a plus 94%, right? And the S&P 500 is up plus 0.35%. And again, folks, why is this happening? Well, simply put, it is simply if you look at these stocks, right? If we look at Apple today, look at Apple ripping higher here, up a monster move here. Look at that move there on Apple. So again, and this is the daily chart on Apple. I got to move my mouse so it actually shows me 1.6% gain on Apple. If we flip to this side and we look at Microsoft, Microsoft today is up 1.42%. We can go to Tesla. Well, Tesla's turned negative, but that's not even a trillion-dollar name. Google, Amazon, Meta. Meta's having a big day. We traded that, as we mentioned earlier, but it's having a monster day to the upside. And so I just want people to realize, like, you're going to hear all these headlines. S&P makes new all-time high. NASDAQ makes new all-time high. But just take it with a grain of salt, because what it really means is that the mega caps are making new all-time highs, not the rest of the market. All right, Dr. B, what do you got over there?
Awesome. Yeah, check this out. So this is a trade we took last week, all right? This is the Nike chart, the 5-minute Nike chart. Look at this parallel it's formed, okay? The top pivot high, pivot low, and check this out. We had a little bull trap right here, came back down. Where there's a bull trap, there's typically a bear trap. This was a real opportunity right here. Here's the bear trap, okay? So you had the bear trap, you had a 3-bar surge on the 5-minute chart up to this area, another bull trap, and then a move lower down into this area. So a lot of opportunity here, okay? 1, 2, 3. 3 opportunities on this 5-minute chart. If you learn this, if you understand how these parallels work, you can really make a lot of money. So I just wanted to point that out. I know, Gareth, we've been focusing a lot on Tesla, so I'll let you show your chart there and talk about this amazing run to the upside.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so incredible run. And I went on Game Plan this morning at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I said, hey, listen, I am seeing literally X amount of factors that are telling us that Tesla should pull back today and stall out. And at the time, it was above $250 per share. Now, it's come back into about $245 to $246. But when you have this many levels coexisting together, where you have these trend lines, all of these trend lines going through major points here, and here, right? And they're all coordinated right where Tesla is at this 250 level. And then when you zoom in, and this is part of the methodology that we teach in the Winning Trader series, when we zoom in, we have 3 different things here, right? And in fact, Dr. B, I'm going to let you, if you want to show that inverse head and shoulder measured move on Tesla, I'll let you show that, all right? Does that work?
Sure.
All right, but here, quickly before, we have what's called a time count, where you have a 7 count of green candles up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Oops, 5, 6, and 7. That marks the top right there. You should get a pullback and a 3-bar surge. 1, 2, 3. And these, again, are all signals that exhaustion should be at our doorstep. And sure enough, so far, listen, Tesla's not down much today, but it is stalling out, and it's pulled back off of its highs. And then Dr. B had another factor. Let's show this, Dr. B.
Yeah, check this out. So this is the Tesla daily chart. All right, you had an inverse head and shoulders. Let me zoom in a little bit so it looks a little more clear. Okay, so you've actually got a variety of factors here. You've got the left shoulder, head, right shoulder, downsloping neckline. Here's your move higher. So a couple things, right? So you have a 3-bar surge, 1, 2, 3. You have a gap fill right here. Actually, let me erase this here. You have a 3-bar surge, 1, 2, 3. Gap fill right here, and you have the measured move from this head up to this neckline. If you were to take this line and move it right to here, all right? If you take it right to here, it's the exact measured move, right? So we're getting exhausted on Tesla. And if you go out to the weekly chart, okay, let me go to the weekly chart real quick. Check this out. So if you were to take a Fibonacci level, okay, from this high, right here, this high to this low, take a guess what fib this is, Gareth.
From that high, I would say a 618.
0.5 actually.
0.5, wow, very nice.
So, you know, we're right at the 0.5. I think this is where we start to pull back. Now, we may get a little bull trap here, a little pierce higher, and then a pullback. Amazing. But I think we're...
And I think the key is that like, really, when you're looking at this chart between the time count, the 3-bar surge, the measured inverse head and shoulder move, and then also those trend lines, I mean, that's really where a trader becomes elite versus just guessing, right? I mean, It's one thing to just guess anywhere in here and be like, oh, I think it's overbought, let me short, or let me go long because it seems like a momentum play. But it's to have the thesis behind you that puts the odds in your favor, right? And that's really what makes a difference.
Build up all the factors, right?
That's right. And it gives you confidence, right? Instead of just, you know, being nervous that you're in a trade, at least you're like, listen, but I have these factors, let's calm down. I know that these things work historically when you look at the past track records.
Plus, you start small, you inch in, right? You dollar cost average in. You can sit back, relax, and just watch, you know, and wait.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. All right, let's jump over here. We're going to look at Bitcoin real quick, guys. So Bitcoin here, we have a big flush. We know the last couple days flushed. We're getting a big bounce today, though, almost back to 57,000. I was buying hand over fist. Heck, I even was up late at night last night buying and adding to positions that we've started to accumulate in the last 24 hours because I knew we were coming into key levels on so many of these cryptos. Now, Bitcoin actually didn't touch these levels yet. It came really close. I have this level between 52.5 and 49,000. But again, either way, it's bouncing. It was other cryptos that were so lucrative in terms of opportunity. I want to show you Sui here. This is one that I picked up with Smart Money Crypto, and I know, Dr. B, you're doing a bunch of these trades in Trader's Edge as well, which is rocking here. But take a look at this. Look at this level here where you have this on Sui right over here, right? Right, all through here, all these lines, this pivot point right through here, and that's right where we pierced. And then you have this down-sloping line from here to here to here, and all the way down right there. So you can see by looking at this, you're not arbitrarily just picking a level where it's like, oh, let me just guess here. I hope this is the bottom. I really hope. No, it's like, okay, I see this past level here. I have this down. They're converging right there, and that gives you that edge. And again, you could go to, I mean, there's so many other opportunities out there. Uniswap was another one. Take a look at Uniswap here, guys, on this chart. If we zoom in on this, look at the low on Uniswap, literally right here to that low, and there's the tail right down there. And you could even do that same sort of thing where you connect these right here, and you have this downslope right here to this area as well. And so, again, it's not to say that, to be honest, I'm going to be frank with you guys, I have no clue where Uniswap or Sui or any of these others will be in a month from now, in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years, 5 years. But on a swing trade basis, do I generally have the probabilities in my favor that if we buy here, we're going to get a bounce, which is exactly what we're getting now? Yeah. And where could it go? Well, I would say right back in here, right? I mean, you see right there, that's a very good level. Pivot low, pivot low, pivot low. So my guess is there. And that's all you're trying to do as a swing trader. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You're not trying to get crazy about things, right? All you're doing is saying, I want to take a move from here to here and then go back to cash. And then I'll wait for the next opportunity instead of hoping and praying that things are going to go up, up, and away. All right, Dr. B, what do you got on Walgreens for us?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about Walgreens chart, and I'm going to look back at volume, right? So don't take my word for it. Go back and look at the chart yourselves, okay? And it's tough to see here, but this is 2007, high volume spike, 2015, high volume spike, and then 2024, high volume spike, okay? This is the weekly chart. So it's about 20 plus years of data, and this is the highest volume spike we've seen on 20 years, on this chart, okay? This is incredible. Now, I do have this trend line coming down right here, converging with this trend line right around $5, okay? I doubt it gets there, but when I see volume spikes like this, okay, typically that leads to a reversal, right? So let's go into the daily chart and let's take a look at that a little closer. Okay, let's take a look here. So you can see this volume spike a little better on the daily time frame. Let me just go in, and I think it's forming a bottoming tail.
Close.
Very
yeah,
close, right?
Depending on where it closes today.
Yeah, so the volume spike was right here a couple days ago. All right, but that tells us, hey, there's probably some big buyers here. There's some capitulation volume. We may form a bottoming tail, but what you can do is if it forms a bottoming tail, you can buy on the retrace here next week, about 50%, and then you can stop out right here. That's
awesome.
It's a great way to do it.
That's awesome.
So,
awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because, again, and this is another factor where we just want to be aware is that, neither Dr. B or I know where this will be when the economy crumbles and there's a recession, they have a lot of debt. It's not like it's a long-term play for us, right?
No.
I mean, we're in it for a month, 2 months, 3 months, maybe max, or even less if it bounces faster, right? But it's about looking at the volume spike. What does that tell us? It's about looking at the RSIs. It's about looking for divergences and potential bottoming tails. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 factors put the probabilities basically in our favor. And I think that's the key, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I think that's good, guys. I think we'll end it there. As always, it's fun to be here on these Fridays. I don't have the trading the close, so it's always good to do. But yeah, I think it's great. And you have a show coming up in a little bit later,
yes,
right?
the Earnings Whispers. So it's the kind of the show, the summary of the week from our new service called the Earnings Trader.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be looking at all of the big levels, support and resistance on the big earnings charts every week. We'll post charts on Mondays. We'll actually trade live on some of the big, stocks like Apple, NVIDIA, things like that.
Yep.
And then we'll summarize it in a free show called the Earnings Whispers, and that's going to go live today, 3:55, 4 p.m.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Right at the same time as trading the close. So you just have to be ready for that time frame every day. There'll always be something here every day right there. And then just to go back to that, I think what's so cool about this is that, number one, there's really no service out there that offers earnings trading like live, where you guys are trading the NVIDIA earnings with the members and talking about, okay, I'm buying here, I'm exiting here, here's the level, this is why, what are the factors live. And I think it's something that's amazing. So,
it is.
So you guys can check that out on verifiedinvesting.com. Just look for the Earnings Trader, right? It's
The Earnings Trader. Yep.
So look at that. On that note, guys, we're going to bid you farewell. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Take care.